What's up, everyone, and welcome to Frickin' Uncultured. My name is Chandler, and I'm normally joined by my buddy Andy, but today's video is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be reviewing Doom the Dark Ages in all of its gory glory. So, if you're a regular of this channel, go ahead and grab a snack and enjoy, and if you're new and this is your first video you're seeing, then it's about time you found us. But we welcome you anyway, and we love you. Just to give a quick idea of how our reviewing system works, Andy and I score games on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 obviously being the best. There's 4 main categories that Andy and I grade on, and that's story, with no spoilers, graphics/art style, gameplay, and soundtrack. Before we get started, I have to make the announcement that today's episode is brought to you by us. Andy and I are super grateful for the love and support that you give us, and we can't thank you all enough. So please, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share us with people you know, because we wouldn't be this far without the help of viewers like you. Thank you. Doom the Dark Ages, I accidentally wrote Dom in my script, is the biggest shakeup to the franchise yet. A prequel to Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, it trades out its hellish sci-fi landscape for a medieval hellish sci-fi landscape, and packs a whopping 22 missions. The story is as follows. You're the Doomslayer, a violent force of nature under the control of what is essentially this universe's version of angels. I said angel, not angle.
Oh.
The story of the Dark Ages starts off in the middle of a war between the Argenta and the forces of Hell, and your main objective is to rip and tear through Hell's army and assist the Argenta in winning. That's basically the gist of the story without giving away any spoilers, and to be honest, Doom never really had that much of a forefront and center story anyway until this title came along. The previous 2 Doom games, especially Eternal, relegated their story to lore-based collectibles that you find in missions that fill in the gaps of what's happening around you. When it came to the Dark Ages, the team over at ID decided that they were going to shelve the online multiplayer the last 2 games had in favor of delivering a campaign that focused more on the story and also to add new gameplay styles, which we'll touch on later. And honestly, I think this call was a great idea, especially after the train wreck that was Doom Eternal's multiplayer. Dark Ages' story, from beginning to end, was all around enjoyable. It's not Oscar-worthy or anything, but for a story in a first-person shooter, it was serviceable. Personally, as someone who reads every note and message in a game that I come across, it was awesome getting to see the things talked about in the lore collectibles of Eternal come to life in Dark Ages. Moving on to graphics/art style now. It's a representation of how I feel about Big Pharma and how they consistently keep us on the verge of being unwell to continue to pump us full of drugs so that they can continuously rake in a profit and grow larger and larger as an industry, while we common folk continue to slowly shrivel away as we empty our wallets to feed the machine that will inevitably kill us. Why won't my doctor stop giving me Viagra? Isn't my life hard enough as is? Have you seen a modern-day first-person shooter? Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield? Well, if you have, you'll notice something common between them all. Graphically, they all look pretty similar, and Doom the Dark Ages is no exception. Now, that's not to say that Dark Ages is a bad-looking game, because it definitely is not. But if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know Andy and I constantly talk about how games are striving to look more and more realistic, and how they're succeeding in that field. But that makes them all kind of look similar. That's when unique art style comes in, like Robert Downey Jr. to save a dying MCU. Where Dark Ages sets itself apart from other AAA titles on the market is with its aesthetic. The medieval sci-fi landscape isn't something anyone has seen in a game before, and it really stands out. The demons aren't just sci-fi demons, they're medieval sci-fi demons. The sci-fi NPC characters aren't just sci-fi NPC characters, they're medieval sci-fi NPC characters. I'm really not making this sound good, am I? But just look for yourself. The gameplay footage is in front of your face right now. Unless you're a historian or time traveler, you can't explain it either, but it just looks sci-fi medieval. And the enemy and character designs are fantastic, especially the Slayer. That man looks like he cuts wood for a living and roast and presses his own coffee beans for TikTok. I was a little disappointed with the main antagonist, however. This is Azrak, or Ozrak. However you pronounce it, I already forgot. I don't like his design, and it hardly makes him feel like a threat. He looks like a demonic crypto bro. Granted, towards the end of the game, he does get a little bit of a glow up, but this is the pasty basement dweller you'll be seeing majority of the time. Let's move on to Dark Age's greatest sin, though. sloth.
Was that the bite of 87?
In all seriousness, though, Doom the Dark Ages' greatest sin is its gameplay loop. The thing is, though, it's not bad, but it had the unfortunate job of filling in the shoes of its older brother Doom Eternal, like a middle child trying to impress their parents. For those who don't know, since Doom 2016, ID Software has made each Doom game play differently, and they struck gold with Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is absolutely insane. Its combat loop is oh so satisfying, it would make a pessimist smile. With its fast-paced, high-action energy, every action you take in Eternal's combat system is a reward. If you need more health, you perform a glory kill. Need more armor? Then use the flame belch. Need more ammo? Then use your chainsaw. Every action you do serves how you play, and when every enemy is jumping down your throat at once, it feels extremely satisfying to clear the room. How do you go from Doom Eternal's goosebump-giving gameplay to Doom the Dark Ages? Messily. Dark Ages has a balanced focus between gunplay and melee combat. You have your massive arsenal as always, but now you also have a shield that doubles as a chainsaw, which I'm pretty sure they ripped that idea straight from the Lancer in Gears of War. You can throw your shield, dash with your shield, parry enemy attacks with your shield. Take your shield out to dinner, only to tell it you miss the Lancer from Gears of War more than you want to be with it, and all around, it's serviceable, but when you mix it with the clunky gameplay since they made you a walking tank in this installment, it just doesn't hit as good. And I've looked online to see how other people feel about the gameplay, and it seems there's a fair amount of people that agree with me, but there are people who actually really enjoy this style, and more power to them. I just think they already had a winning formula before this title. As for the gunplay though, it's exactly what you'd expect if you're familiar with Doom. Just they changed the way the weapons look and tweaked how they operate, but if you've played any of the more recent games in this franchise, then you know exactly what you're getting into. If you haven't played any of the other games though, and this is your first exposure to Doom, then I think this is a great start. The pace of the gameplay is slower, and the game is much more forgiving if you make mistakes. Plus, if you find the game is too slow, you can always just go into the settings and raise the speed of the game, making everything move faster. And I know I already said that Doom the Dark Ages' greatest sin is its gameplay, but that's not really true. Because it is good for what it is, just Eternal is better. The real sin of Doom the Dark Ages is envy mixed with greed. I wish I had the feet to sell feet pics on OnlyFans. I would be so rich right now. Really though, Doom the Dark Ages' greatest sin is actually the last category I mentioned at the top of this video that Andy and I grade games on, and that's the soundtrack. Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal were both composed by Mick Gordon. If you want to hear Andy and I praise him for his work, then check out our favorite Game OST video we did that I'll link below. Mick Gordon did not return for Dark Ages though, due to a dispute between him and ID Software during the creation of Doom Eternal. The team behind the soundtrack for Dark Ages is Finishing Move Inc., who have worked on titles like Halo 2 Anniversary Edition and Borderlands 3. And how did they do with the Dark Ages? Dark Ages soundtrack isn't bad, but you can definitely tell it's not Mick Gordon. So much like Dark Ages gameplay, it's cursed by the fact that I had to follow up something that was better the first go-round. That's my thoughts on Doom the Dark Ages though, so I guess I have to go ahead and give it its rating. Honestly, I went back and forth for a while on what I wanted to give it, because what it does right, it does really well, and what it lacks in still isn't bad, so I was a little conflicted on the rating. After discussing it with Andy though, and explaining how I felt about it to him, I finally came to the decision that Doom the Dark Ages gets an 8.5. That's all for my review, and if you stuck around to the end, thank you so much for watching the entire video, especially because you can see me keep on glancing at my script as I'm recording, but hey, I'm still new to this, and this is my first outing doing this solo, so, you know, cut me some slack, internet. I know that's what your specialty is cutting people slack. You know. And let me know what you think about Doom the Dark Ages in the comments below. If you liked what you watched, then please like and subscribe to the channel, and keep your eye on Friday when Andy and I upload on a weekly basis at noon Central Standard Time. Once again, thank you all so much, and remember, it only gets better from here. What's up, everybody? So this is me in the middle of recording the little skits that I did in this video, and I just wanted to address something that was in one of the skits because I just drew my picture of my cow for one of them, and I forgot to put an udder on it. So if anybody was curious, it's an udder. It's a butt udder, but it's still an udder.